Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button now and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss stories like this that'll keep you hooked till the very end. Imagine discovering your husband's deepest secret in the most shocking way, leading to a twist that changes everything. What if the betrayal was closer than you think? Stick around to find out how one woman's world shattered and rebuilt in ways you won't believe. It's jaw-dropping. It was a crisp autumn evening in Maplewood, New Jersey, when my life started unraveling. I'd just gotten home from my shift at the local bakery, the one I'd opened 5 years ago with savings from my teaching job. The smell of fresh cinnamon rolls still clung to my clothes as I kicked off my shoes in the foyer of our cozy colonial house on Elm Street. Mark, my husband of 10 years, wasn't home yet. He'd texted saying he'd be late from his accounting firm downtown. That wasn't unusual. Tax season always kept him buried in spreadsheets. But something felt off that night. The house was too quiet, except for the faint hum of the refrigerator. I headed upstairs to change, passing by our home office where Mark handled client files. The door was slightly ajar, and a soft glow from his computer screen spilled into the hallway. Curiosity got the better of me. I peeked in, thinking maybe he'd left it on by accident. What I saw froze me in place. The screen displayed an open email inbox, not his work one, but a personal account I didn't recognize. The subject line of the top message read, "Last night was incredible. Can't wait for more." My heart dropped like a stone. I shouldn't have clicked, but I did. The email was from Lisa, my best friend since college. Lisa, who lived just 2 blocks away on Oak Avenue, who I'd confided in about everything, including our recent arguments over starting a family. "Mark, darling," it began, "the way you held me at the lodge, it felt so right. Sneaking away to the Poconos last weekend was risky but worth every second. When can we do it again? Love, your secret flame." Attached were photos, intimate ones, taken in a cabin that looked familiar from a trip Mark had claimed was a solo fishing getaway. I felt sick, my knees buckling as I sank into his desk chair. How long had this been going on? Scrolling through more emails revealed months of exchanges, plans for meetups at motels along Route 80, even discussions about how unhappy Mark was with our routine life. Lisa, who I'd trusted like a sister, complaining about her own marriage to Tom and how Mark made her feel alive again. Tears blurred my vision, but anger sharpened my focus. I forwarded everything to my own email, then deleted the traces. By the time Mark got home at 9 p.m., I was composed, stirring pasta sauce in the kitchen like nothing was wrong. "Hey, Luna," he said, kissing my cheek with that familiar smile. "Rough gay?" "You have no idea," I replied, forcing a grin. We ate dinner, chatting about mundane things, his clients, my bakery's new fall menu, but inside I was plotting. That night, as he slept soundly beside me, I lay awake piecing together the timeline, the business trips, the sudden interest in gym memberships, Lisa's odd absences from our weekly coffee meetups. It all clicked. The next morning, I called in sick to the bakery and drove to Lisa's house. She answered the door in yoga pants, her blonde hair in a ponytail, looking every bit the suburban mom she pretended to be. "Luna, what a surprise! Come in." We sat in her sun-filled kitchen, sipping coffee she'd brewed. "Lisa," I said calmly, "I know about you and Mark." She paled, the mug trembling in her hands. "What? I don't—" "Save it. I saw the emails, the photos, everything." She burst into tears, spilling apologies. "It just happened. We didn't mean to hurt you. Mark's been so stressed, and my marriage is falling apart." "Stressed from what? Lying to me?" I stood up, my voice steady despite the storm inside. "You've been my friend for 15 years. How could you?" She begged for forgiveness, said they'd end it, that it was a mistake born from loneliness. But her eyes darted away, her tell, just like in college when she'd fib about exams. I left without another word, driving straight to Mark's office in the heart of Maplewood. His secretary, Elaine, an older woman who'd worked there forever, let me in. Mark looked up from his desk, surprised. "Luna, everything okay?" I closed the door. "No, Mark, it's not. I pulled out my phone, showing him the screenshots. His confident facade crumbled. "Oh God, Luna, how did you—" "Doesn't matter. What matters is you've been cheating with my best friend for months." He stammered excuses, work pressure, feeling neglected since I poured everything into the bakery, how Lisa understood him. "We can fix this," he pleaded. "I'll cut her off. We'll go to therapy." I laughed bitterly. Therapy after you two used our joint savings for your little getaways? I checked the bank app that morning, unexplained withdrawals matching the dates in the emails. He went silent, head in hands. "What do you want me to do?" "Nothing yet," I said, walking out. But in my mind, the plan was forming. Maplewood was a tight-knit community. Word traveled fast. I wouldn't scream from rooftops, not yet. Instead, I'd use what I knew best, connections. My bakery supplied treats to half the town's events, and Mark's firm handled taxes for many local businesses. Lisa? She volunteered at the community center, building her perfect image. Over the next few days, I gathered more evidence, hacked into his cloud storage, using the password he never changed, our wedding date, found receipts, more photos, even voice messages. One particularly damning, Mark whispering, "Luna's clueless. This is our chance to start fresh." That sealed it. I wasn't just hurt, I was furious. Time for consequences. I didn't cry anymore after that first night. Tears felt like a luxury I couldn't afford. Instead, I moved like a woman possessed, quiet, precise, and cold as the November wind rattling the windows of Sweet Rye's bakery. By the end of the week, I had everything. Bank statements showing transfers to a joint vacation fund that only Mark and Lisa ever touched. Hotel receipts from the Poconos Lodge, a second cell phone bill in Mark's name that he paid from our business account, the one he swore was just for client emergencies, and the crown jewel, a 30-second video Lisa accidentally sent to their shared Google Drive. It showed them in her minivan parked behind the Maplewood Country Club after last month's charity gala. You didn't need sound to understand what was happening. I printed it all in color, glossy 8x10s and put them in a pretty pink box, the same shade as the boxes I use for strawberry cupcakes. Then I waited for the perfect moment. That moment came on the first Saturday in December, the annual Maplewood Holiday Stroll. Main Street closed to traffic, twinkling lights everywhere, carolers, hot cocoa stands, the whole Hallmark movie treatment. My bakery had the prime spot right across from the gazebo where the tree lighting ceremony happens every year. Mark and Lisa, of course, were both on the planning committee. They loved being seen as the golden couple of suburban perfection. At 6:30, just as the high school choir finished Oh Holy Night, the mayor took the microphone to thank the sponsors. Mark stood proudly on the stage in his navy peacoat, Lisa beside him in a red beret, waving like they were running for office. The crowd was packed shoulder to shoulder, phones up, recording everything for Instagram. That's when I flipped the switch. Above the gazebo hung the big projector screen we use for the countdown. I'd spent 2 nights bribing the AV guy with free pastries and a $100 bill. At my signal, a quick text that simply read, "Now," the screen lit up. First slide, the lodge receipt, zoomed in on the dates and the heart Lisa doodled next to Mark's name. Second slide, the minivan video, tastefully blurred but unmistakable. Third slide, the text exchange where Lisa wrote, "She'll never suspect as long as we keep the story straight." Mark replied with a winking emoji. The crowd went dead silent for about 3 seconds, long enough for the mayor to realize something was wrong and fumble for the remote. Then the gasps started. Phones whipped up. Someone screamed, "Oh my God, that's Mark Brennan!" Mark's face on the stage turned the color of spoiled milk. Lisa let out a sound like a stepped-on cat and tried to bolt, but the crowd was too thick. I just stood behind my bakery table, arms crossed, smiling the polite customer service smile I'd perfected over years of dealing with Karens who wanted gluten-free wedding cakes. The AV guy killed the feed after 20 seconds, but the damage was done. Half the town had recorded it. By the time the tree lights came on, #Maplewood Mistress was trending in New Jersey. Mark stumbled off the stage and fought his way toward me through the crowd. "Luna, what the hell did you do?" he hissed, grabbing my arm hard enough to bruise. I looked down at his hand like it was something disgusting on my shoe. "I gave the town the truth you two were too cowardly to share. Let go of me, Mark. Cameras are rolling." He let go. Lisa was crying into her scarf while people openly filmed her. Tom, Lisa's husband, stood 10 feet away staring at the frozen last frame still glowing on the screen. He looked like someone had sucker punched his soul. I leaned in so only Mark could hear. "You wanted excitement? Congratulations. You just became the most famous accountant in Essex County." Then I turned back to my table, handed a stunned mom a free hot chocolate, and said loudly, "Everything's half off tonight, folks. Betrayal shouldn't ruin the holidays for the rest of us." By 9 o'clock, the police, gently, asked me to shut down early for public safety. I packed up while half the town lined up to hug me, high-five me, or whisper, "You okay, honey?" Old Mrs. DeMarco from the library pressed a rosary into my hand and said, "That was biblical, sweetheart. Old Testament-level justice." Mark tried calling 17 times on the drive home. I let everyone go to voicemail. When I walked into our dark house on Elm Street, I poured myself a glass of the good Pinot we'd been saving for our 10th anniversary next month, and I started making lists. List 1, new locks tomorrow. List 2, lawyer on Monday. I already had Karen Petrowski on speed dial. She eats cheating husbands for breakfast. List 3, figure out how to keep the bakery afloat once the gossip dies down and people remember carbs are the enemy again. At 2 a.m., the front door rattled. Mark, drunk and desperate, begging to come in. I opened it just enough to hand him a suitcase I'd packed while he was still on stage, dying a public death. "Here's your stuff," I said. "The rest you can get through your lawyer. Oh, and the country club called. Your membership's been revoked. Something about conduct unbecoming." He started sobbing, real ugly crying. "Luna, please, I'll do anything. It was a mistake." "No," I said, voice steady as steel. "A mistake is forgetting to pick up milk. What you did was a choice. 6 months of choices. Now live with them." I shut the door, flipped the deadbolt, and for the first time in weeks, I slept like a baby. The fallout was nuclear. By Sunday morning, the videos were everywhere. Facebook groups, local Reddit threads, even the Maplewood Patch ran a story headlined, "Holiday Scandal Rocks Community Event." Mark's firm lost 3 major clients by noon. Turns out nobody wants their taxes done by a guy who can't keep his own house in order. Lisa's husband, Tom, filed for divorce that afternoon, citing the footage as evidence. He got custody of their golden retriever, Buddy, which I heard stung her more than losing the house. I didn't gloat, not publicly, but inside, it felt like justice, slow-roasted and served with a side of karma. Karen Petrowski, my lawyer, met me at her office on Monday. She's a shark in heels, the kind who makes opposing counsel sweat just by smiling. "Luna, this is gold," she said, flipping through my pink folder. "Adultery, proven. Financial misconduct. Mark's looking at zilch in the settlement. The house, bakery, retirement accounts, all yours since you funded most with premarital savings." We filed that day. Mark showed up at the bakery around lunchtime, begging through the glass door while customers pretended not to stare. "Luna, this is destroying me. My reputation, my job. Please, take it down." I unlocked the door just to say,
"You destroyed us first. Now bake your own damn bread." Then I relocked it and handed out free muffins to the line forming outside. Lisa tried next, showing up at my house that evening with a bottle of our favorite Merlot and a face full of fake remorse. "We were stupid, Luna. Forgive me, for old times." I took the wine, hey, free booze, and said, "Old times ended when you climbed into bed with my husband. Get off my porch before I call the cops for trespassing." The town divided like a bad pie. Some sided with me, mostly the married folks and small business owners who valued loyalty. Others whispered I'd gone too far, the drama queens who secretly loved the spectacle. But business boomed. Sympathy sales, they called it. Sweet Rise hit record numbers that December. People came for the gossip, stayed for the gingerbread lattes. By Christmas Eve, Mark had moved into a dingy apartment in Newark, his BMW repossessed after missed payments surfaced. Turns out those business lunches were charged to the firm card. Lisa sold her house to cover legal fees and slunk back to her parents in Connecticut. Tom threw a freedom party at the country club. I sent a congratulatory pie with "better off" iced on top. I spent the holidays alone for the first time in a decade, but it wasn't lonely. I volunteered at the shelter, baked for the neighbors, even adopted a rescue cat named Karma. New Year's Eve, I toasted myself in the mirror. To first choices from now on. 6 months later, the divorce finalized without a hitch. I kept everything, plus a hefty alimony check, until Mark got back on his feet, which, from what I heard, involved flipping burgers in Hoboken. The bakery expanded, I hired 2 more staff, and added a coffee bar. Best part, I started dating again. Ryan, a kind-eyed architect from the next town over, who looked at me like I hung the moon. Looking back, the betrayal shattered me, but it also set me free. Mark and Lisa thought they could sneak around, build their fantasy on my ruins. They forgot, in a place like Maplewood, secrets don't stay buried. And me, I learned I'm stronger than I ever knew. No more second-guessing, no more settling. From here on, I'm writing my own story, one with a happy ending I earned.